Hey guys, what's going on? Hey everyone. Hey. Hi.
Hey.
Okay, wait. Tammin?
Like Sam.
Sursock.
Sir and Song.
Yeah, but I've never heard the name Tammin.
My parents made it up drunk on their honeymoon. And
Shut.
It means nothing.
Wait,
It
what?
has no meaning to it.
For real? They were just
For real.
wasted. Like, sorry, I've got this idea.
That's
Hear
a
me
really
out.
good
Are
Australian
you
accent.
serious?
Good.
No way.
They were
Stop
like,
it.
you know, my mom always says that, by the way, I'm Australian, even though my accent is half everything.
We'll get into that.
We'll get into that. My mom always says that when we made you, which is like, I don't know, like
Ooh.
whoever needs to hear that.
Also,
you know,
yeah, no.
When we made you, we were swinging from the rafters at a lighthouse. It was like, thanks, Mom.
Mortifying.
It's such a picture that I never need etched into my brain.
Get out of here.
No.
I know.
No,
It's
no.
just
Kind of an epic way to be conceived, though.
I know.
Yeah.
You
Like, I
know?
was really wanted.
It's just the thought of your parents banging. There's nothing worse.
There's
No.
nothing worse.
There's
No.
absolutely nothing
And they're like,
worse.
yeah, let's make Tammin is a name.
There is something worse, is if your parent walks in on you banging.
Yes.
Has that
could be-
happened?
Has it happened to you?
Wait, what? No.
It's never.
No, when I was
It
in
happened-
high school, I was in the living room being finger banged. And
Sorry,
my
sorry. Sorry, the mics are so, I couldn't hear.
finger banged.
Finger bang!
Which honestly, it's underrated finger bang.
It is.
Yeah,
If
that's how
that
you
he
start.
gets in there in the right spot, you're done.
But okay, anyway, my mom walked in on that, and
Yeah.
she just like walked in and just walked out.
Yeah.
Like it was
My
bad.
dad once
it was
walked in on
bad.
me and then just walked in and walked out and then said he never remembered.
That's the thing. They just block it out.
Go into
Just
like a state.
Yeah.
Has it, no one's ever happened to you?
So it happened to me one time. We were cutting school, my high school boyfriend and I. We went to my parents' house thinking like no one was going to be there. And sure enough, no one was there.
Yeah.
So we were just so sloppy with it. We were like on the living room couch.
Yeah.
We weren't fucking, but we were getting close.
Oh, your finger
so maybe-
banging.
Finger
Yeah,
banging?
finger
Yeah.
bang. Little finger bang, little, whatever happens, happens.
Okay.
So I see this head, I look out the window, and I
It's
just
your
see this
principal.
short principal. It's like that movie. What's that movie? Ferris Bueller.
Yeah, he's like-
So I see this little head walking by, and I'm like, oh my God. At first
Why
I
is it a
thought it was a
little
parent,
head?
because he was so short. It was the guy that was cutting the grass outside.
Okay.
And then
the
he
gardener.
looked, but he had known me my whole life at that point.
Oh, Lord,
And it was
no.
like the look and the look, and it
Oh, no.
it was just so bad.
No,
It was
no,
so
no.
I
You're
was
like, I'm just being finger banged.
Yeah, it's good.
He's only
never
first
gonna
base.
Did you
Yeah.
continue?
I think that pretty much
She
broke
finished.
the mood. It kind of broke the mood a little bit, I have
Yeah.
to say. But then you know what happened? That same guy that was years later, I was standing in front of another window, of course, getting out of the shower.
You need to get away from those windows.
Yeah.
And there was the window. I just
The
wasn't
same
even-
gardener?
Same gardener in the window. I'm like,
I
oh
don't
my
think it was, I think he was
God.
trying to look
I
in
don't
on
No,
you.
like at this point, you're like, and then I was sleeping one night and I woke up and there was the gardener just right next to my bed. Like it was so odd.
And then the
so
gardener
weird.
started finger banging me. It was so weird.
It was like high school all over again.
Yeah, and then I was
don't
taking a
know.
road trip and I look behind me and there's the gardener driving. It's so weird. He's
always
stalking
there.
you.
He's my
Yeah.
imaginary friend.
And he's like, and I was going to say something. He was like, and it was my uncle. No, it wasn't.
Jesus
No,
Christ.
Yes, and that's where we
And
go.
we're done.
Wait, but so just to, okay, so your parents were drunk and they just made
Yes.
the name up and that's
They
why.
did.
Okay, so no, is there
No, my
anyone else?
mom liked that song Tammy. You can sing it.
Tammin.
Tammy, which one? How does it go?
Tammy.
Oh, that one.
Tammy?
That one,
What's
yeah.
this
I love
Tammy
that
song?
one.
You know Tammy, my love. Like Tammy.
Who sings this song?
It's called Tammy. Julie Garland.
Judy Garland?
Australian.
I'm just making shit up.
Anyway, this is a song called Tammy.
Okay, I believe you.
Okay,
Yeah.
sure.
And
Tammy.
then my mom was like, that's her name. But we're going to change it a bit to make it unique.
And Roxy Manning,
Roxy Manning.
that's got a good ring to it.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
they
you.
both have good rings to it. How did you guys meet?
So we met at
At
school.
school.
At
Yes,
school.
the
Our
kids.
children went to preschool together, and you know, in Los Angeles, like that's a whole thing, like to get your kids into preschool. And we were in a good preschool.
Okay.
And we like new parents. They were how old? 2.5.
Yeah,
two,
babies.
2 years and 6 months, which is wild now that I think about it. That they were at preschool then, and
Right.
you just finished my sentences, and I was like, I'm starting a podcast, bitch. You're
And I was
coming."
like, I'm in, bitch. Let's
when
go.
she was in, and we've done like
Whoa.
400, like 350 episodes now.
We're coming up on our 5th year now.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Just every week. Are you sick of each other?
Yes.
Have you ever been in a big old fight?
No, but we
No.
text fight.
We do text fight, like passive aggressive.
Love
kind
that.
Of.
Yeah, it's great. And we
That's
know we're
very
doing it too.
Yeah.
Really?
And then we're
When
over
there's
it the next
when
day.
there's an LOL, I'm like, I just know.
We know by
The LOL.
punctuation,
You know
yes.
she's seething.
Yeah. If it's an okay full stop, the full stop really makes the difference.
Yes.
Or like the lack of emojis, or do you not really use emojis?
Lack of emojis kind of freaks you out a bit.
Yes, it does.
Yes.
But it's only because you
Punctuate.
overuse them so much that
Right.
when you don't, you made such a point.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
It's like the
Oh, it's a
opposite.
big point.
Yeah.
It's like a fuck you.
It's like
Yeah.
the fuck
Yeah.
you.
It's like,
It's
but
the full. It's
I
the
think,
period at the end of the sentence. You say full stop or period?
What do I say? Full stop?
We say period.
Oh,
Yeah, period.
we say full
It's
stop.
full stop. Yeah.
Full stop.
British
I will-
people say that too,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say the thing that gets under the skin the most is yup. Like a
yeah, yeah.
yup on the text message.
Literally.
Nope.
You might as well
Yup.
just call me a cunt. At
Yeah.
that point.
You'll be like,
Yup.
yeah, yep, because it's so
Wow.
passive aggressive. I
It's
don't
so
do well with that.
passive-aggressive.
Wow.
Yeah. It's
Wow,
like you don't
the
even wanna
audacity.
say it. I know.
Yeah.
I know. We go there sometimes though, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's cool. So you just met at preschool and you were like,
And that-
let's
we're
start
actually-
a
and that
podcast.
was-
I know. You know what? It's kind of how life works. Just maybe not in LA. Sometimes, although no, maybe LA. I think there's a lot of good relationships that you find here, friendship wise, that end up being working relationships. Right? Don't you find?
Sometimes, yeah. Yeah. I'm in a weird position because I grew up right outside Chicago and my best friend from preschool moved here as well.
Yeah.
Him and his husband live in where I live.
You're like, what's your address?
They live like 5 minutes from me. And like my other 3 friends from Chicago all moved here. None of them are like in the business. They're just like, they just came here for warm weather. They just didn't want to like walk outside and have their hair be frozen from, 20 below zero in the winter. So like, I've got these friends from childhood, so it's like a different,
Your family, and is your family still in Chicago?
yeah. But I've
And do you
got
like
these
them?
great friends, and I do. I like.
good.
I mean, triggering.
Of course.
Family is why are his
triggers all
families
the time.
so triggering?
Right.
Love them dearly, but
I think it's because that generation of our parents and their parents before, like so much of our generation, we are actually trying to actively work on
Yes.
ourselves. So we don't make it
Yes.
everyone else's issue or everyone else's problem. And
Yeah.
we try to not project our own stuff onto other people. And I think therapy is so healthy and in so many, I do it personally, I do it with in my relationship.
Yeah.
But I think that generation sees it as such a negative that because they didn't get the help and then I think we don't communicate with our family like we communicate with the people in our lives now because we don't feel like safe to, right? Because we don't
Totally.
want to
Yeah.
trigger them and
Yeah.
then all of a sudden like we're just kind of having issues that didn't really ever need to be there in the first place. So I think family's hard. And I think also like, you have small kids. How many times have you said sorry to your kids? Like I say sorry to my kids for my mistakes all the time.
Yeah.
I don't think our parents did that. I don't think
No.
they said, I'm really sorry, I was really stressed or I was really overwhelmed and I put that on you.
Yeah.
We don't do that. We just go, our family was just like, you're bad, you're wrong, that's naughty. Whereas it's like, could you be overstimulated? Could your kids have had too much sugar? Have not had enough sleep? Is it 7:30 at night and you're in fucking Target?
Yeah.
I saw this mom the other day. The kid was screaming and she was so angry at him. I was like, it's 8 p.m. Your kid's 3,
Yeah.
exhausted, right? It's going to happen.
did you say that to her?
I was like, bitch. No, I was just like, Roxy, this mother. No. But I just
like,
mom
this
shamed
is
away
horrible.
from the mom. Just
Yeah.
kidding.
You're so right, though. That repair stage is so important with parenting, and we didn't really get that so much, did we?
No,
Yeah.
they also know how to push our buttons. It's like the triggers like that always kind of stay. And then like when you're around, when you go back for holidays or like
Yeah.
you're there for a visit, it is triggering. I notice.
Yes.
Like it's nice like when you're easing in, but then old habits die hard, right? People
Right.
start acting how they've always acted.
Yeah.
You
Where
know?
are you from?
Dallas.
Okay, and but you've lived here for a long time.
For a
or-
long time. So I went to undergrad at USC, and then I stayed for a bit, moved to New York, and then came back here.
For what? Like, what was
So
that?
I was moving up, came here for college, then moved there for work, and then moved back here because I got engaged there. We got married, and my husband, who was like he's a diehard East Coaster. I was like, let's just try the warm weather for like a year.
Yeah.
Cut to, that was like 15 years ago.
Yeah, people come
He's
for
like,
warm
I'm not
weather.
going back. It's now nice and toasty warm here.
Yeah. Okay.
So
It's
just,
nice to have seasons, though.
yeah, it is.
You guys
It
don't have
is.
seasons, and I do think sometimes because it's so bright and light all the time, you feel like the need to. You have to be happy. There's like this. I felt like when I was here, if I was unhappy or felt depressed or was having any emotional issues, I was like, well, you can't because the weather's so good.
But in
like, what's
Nashville,
your-
you can just be
I
as
can
depressed as
I
you
can be
want.
as depressed as I want there in seasons.
That's a
in
good
certain
selling
season.
point. Yeah.
Come to Nashville.
Seasonal.
Be as depressed as you want.
Yeah.
Slogan.
Love
Yeah.
that. But
No, I
you
love
love
it.
Nashville.
I do now.
So you moved there a year ago and you were here for 15 years and then you
Yeah.
moved to Nashville. So
Yeah.
why did you move? We're going to pretend like we
weren't
didn't
go-
just
we
have this
weren't-
conversation.
I know, we spoke about this before.
Yeah.
We weren't going to move anywhere, really. We were just going to go on a road trip during COVID. We packed up everything, and I think everyone was just in such a fierce mental state, and we just wanted to get out without, we couldn't go anywhere because it was COVID. So we decided to go to all like the national parks around America.
Yeah.
And ended up in Austin, and then figured out, we were going to go to Nashville just to see it sight unseen. And we just never left. And for me, I think it's because my life is so anxiety ridden. Being in this business, I was a child actor in Australia and then came here and worked on the show Pretty Little Liars for 10 years and constantly like trying to be seen, whatever that means, or feel like I'm worth something. And then having to navigate all these other people that were also trying to be seen and feel like they were worth something, and having interesting relationships with people in LA. And it's not that I don't love LA, I do, but it's nice to be in a place where people just like me.
Yeah.
They don't like that. They don't even know what I do or where I live or what I drive or any of it. They just really like me. And like when really that sounded really, they really like me. But like my daughter's birthday, I figured it out 3 days before. We had 18 people there. Everyone was dressed in like just jeans and a t-shirt, which I know that they would hear, but it'd be like a $150 t-shirt. But
Right.
and it was just so nice to feel like I could show up in my most authentic form.
Yeah.
My hair was up, I know that sounds weird, but I've always had a thing about my hair being down and showing up because my hair is like, as young girls, like my hair was important, right?
Okay, yeah.
And just having hair up in a bun and glasses on,
Yeah.
and no one even, not feeling like anyone was even gonna think anything less of you.
Yeah,
I'm not saying- I
whereas
know
here,
different-
like everyone would be vomiting at the sight of you.
Yeah, it would be like, you're disgusting. It's not that, I think there's an undercurrent of it.
No.
You know what I mean? There's
absolutely.
an undercurrent of
Yes.
like all
Yes.
of that. And maybe it was my own insecurity, but I feel like a lot of that has gone. And
Yeah.
then that makes me show up in my work and my relationships with people because
Yeah.
I feel like I don't have to put on a cloak. I can just be who I am,
Yeah. Yeah, that's incredible.
And I'm still screwed up.
Let's move to Nashville.
I know. We need to get on the
Nashville,
next
you
plane.
can take your cloak off.
Apparently, we can live like queens there, is what this one's saying.
Well, for
So-
the price of your houses here, you can
Yeah.
definitely have an estate. Yes.
And you have how many kids?
2,
And they're how old?
4 and 10, 4.5 and 10.
And like, how is that? Do you find it's easier? Or
Yeah, I think that one of the main issues for us was that how do you raise girls in a place where beauty is really put on a pedestal, right? When it's like a hierarchy of importance.
Yeah.
Whether you like it or not, how you look and how you show up in Los Angeles is really important. And I didn't want that to be part of like, obviously take care of yourself, self-awareness, self-care, but I didn't want them to think like, am I unattractive because X, Y, and Z, or my friends are getting highlights and they're, 8 years old.
Yeah.
And I didn't want that for them. And we don't really talk too much. I had an eating disorder when I was younger, but like we don't talk that much about body. I'm saying your body's strong. What you eat is really great because it makes you strong, gives you energy.
Yeah.
But we don't talk about like what you look like a lot. We say you're
Yeah.
beautiful and smart, but we don't have any emphasis on it, and they
Yeah.
don't see it projected into their faces. They don't drive down the street and there's billboards of people looking stunning. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but when you have children where their frontal lobes aren't fully developed yet, you want them to like feel like they're good enough without seeing all these images projected onto them that like you're not.
Do you feel like growing up was beauty emphasized in your household? Was it important?
I think the generational, like, you know, I was overweight as a kid. I was bullied a lot, and then I lost the weight, and then within 6 months I was on a TV show, and I
Okay.
did 25 covers of magazines within that next couple of years.
How
and
did that come about?
I lost the weight naturally, and then I auditioned, like it was
Like,
my
but
first
did
audition.
you just decide to audition, or like how did?
Yeah, so I was 15 years old. I'd always wanted to be an actor.
Okay,
I've been
okay.
studying acting my whole life. My
Yeah.
parents were not pushy
Yeah.
with that side of things. And, you know, when I was on these magazines, I was like the face of Pepsi for a while and L'Oreal. But yet I always felt like the girl who was bullied. I never felt like
Yeah.
I was this ingenue or this whatever it was. I always felt like I was
Yeah.
lesser than, because you always remember the things when you were a kid, right? You
Yes,
always remember
yeah.
being bullied. You never remember
Yeah.
the good thing. So I still hold on to that a little bit. I still hold on to that, the pain of like your childhood. Although at some point you have to give
Totally.
it up, but not being good enough unless you look a certain way. So when you asked,
Yeah.
was it, I don't think my parents put that pressure on me,
Yeah.
but I think the fact that I was in the 90s and I posted something on my Instagram talking about the way women were talked to back then. It was like, I had an eating disorder. I was like 89 pounds and no one mentioned it. No one said, I was on a TV show and no one said like, are you okay?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
do you need any help? Because it was so celebrated to be so thin.
Yeah.
And Christina Aguilera, Britney Spears, everyone looked like that, right?
Yeah.
The Olsen twins. So I was just part of that narrative,
Yeah.
and no one said anything.
Wow.
So was it important? I think it was important at that time for the entire world.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
if it was like my parent. It wasn't like my family.
Sure,
it was
sure,
everything,
sure.
right?
Yeah. The culture and the industry you were in.
Oh yeah.
You know, and
yeah.
being celebrated for that. Yeah. It's funny, I was bullied for being a stick, but
Right.
like I always was a stick. And like
Right.
my dad is like 6'4" and like super skinny. And like it's just like our
That's just
fucking
your body,
bodies. Like
yeah.
we're just lanky, okay?
And who
but
cares?
it's like
Right.
no, literally.
I know, yeah, but like,
But like I
yeah.
was like, you know, it was like eat a cheeseburger, and people would tell me, or like, you know, there would be rumors that I had an eating disorder when I fucking didn't. I was just lanky.
Yeah.
So it's funny that whatever that
just- I
bullying,
just
but it
think-
sticks with you.
It always
you
does,
know?
and I just
Always
think
does.
mentioning someone's body, no matter what their size
Yeah.
is just stop talking about people's bodies. Like
Right.
we're
It's
just
so
sacks of skin. Like,
unhelpful.
and who
It
ca-
is.
and sometimes I'm like,
Yeah.
who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares?
We're sacks of skin.
Yeah.
And like when you pass away, you're just a sack of skin. Like who
Yeah.
cares if you have cellulite or like if you're thin or like tall or have varicose veins? Like who gives a fuck?
It definitely
Yeah.
matters less and less. I find like the older we get, like I still care what I
Yeah,
look like, but
yeah.
not nearly to the extent that I used to.
Yeah,
Do you
it's like
find
the
that?
zero fucks. It's like letting go a little bit of fucks like each
Don't
day.
you? I kind of
Yeah.
can't wait
One
till we're
fuck.
old as
One
shit. Till we're old as shit and just don't care at all.
Yeah.
But the thing is, what's really sad is I don't know if, I think you do care less, but I think as women, we always still care. Like my mom still cares about, you know, not gaining too much weight. And I know that we say, you know, when I posted that video on my Instagram, there's so many people were like, well, thank goodness it's not like the 90s. I'm like, Ozempic sold out.
Yeah.
You know, Ozempic is
true.
sold out for weight loss for half of it, which is really for people who need it because they are like, I'm obese and I really need the help. And other people are doing it because they just want to be really thin.
Dude, it's a new trend now. Like in the 90s was like the Kate Moss body, but now it's the Kim K body. And literally you've got like 16, 17-year-olds getting BBLs,
Yes.
huge
Yep.
tits, big old lips. They're fucking teenagers.
Yes.
And they're like, it's wild.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's
So it's
you're-
just, it just looks different now, but
Right.
it's
still there.
oh my
It's
God.
still, no, you're right. It's
still
scary.
there.
You're right, because these young girls are going and getting all
Yeah.
these surgeries. I don't know, like, what's worse,
It's
you know,
wild.
because they're still augmenting and changing their body
Yeah.
in some way.
Yeah.
That's not natural, you know. It's scary. But that's the thing too. I mean, because you have a daughter also, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we all have like a girl, you know, and
Yeah.
I just worry as they get older and like teenagers, and especially with social media. I mean,
Oh, I know.
it's just everywhere. I mean, there are girls, my daughter's 9. I mean, they're the same age in school, But some of these kids already have social media. They have
Really?
TikToks and yes, Instagrams and YouTubes and everything.
Whoa.
They say that kids have seen pornography
No,
by
no,
the
no,
time
right.
that they're 11. I think like
Really?
80% of children, somehow really high statistic, because one kid has it, doesn't matter who it is, and they're showing it to everyone else in the class,
Right.
you know? And so I just think it's really important to instill their moral compass and their values
Yeah.
so that, because the world will keep turning.
Right.
The narratives will always be there.
Yeah.
But it's like who they are as a people and how are they gonna figure it out? It has to be based in the values and the lessons that you give them to bolster them with enough courage and wisdom and fortitude to like go into the world and actually feel strong within themselves, which I don't know. Again, we had generations of parents who they didn't get that from their parents. So it's kind of our jobs to change that and change the cycle. And before you know it, your little one, it's just, I can't believe my eldest just turned 10 and it's harder.
Stop.
It's really hard.
No.
It's really hard. Like I always think the toddler stage is a different hard. I was like, this is the hardest part, having a newborn. It is when it comes to like, you just have to keep them alive, right? You have to feed them, you have to keep them alive. But the emotional toll that an older kid takes is, I feel like, far more heavy than
the toddler stage?
Than the toddler
Guys.
stage.
It's
It
Really
is.
hard. It's
But you
emotional.
haven't met my 4-year-old though.
What is
My
she
first
like?
was hard.
Well, my 2-year-old is
a
the
girl,
girl, is
yeah.
Poppy,
Okay.
and then my 4-year-old Alfie.
Okay.
They're just like wildly different. I'm sure your kids
Yeah.
are too. It's that trips me out, like just how different they are. But Poppy's like super social and talkative, and just she's just funny. Like
Yeah.
she's just a little clown. Like she just has such a sense of humor, and she just wants to talk to you and like give you
Yeah.
things.
And then she'll be like, I hate you.
No,
In 8 years.
never.
You just
Never
wait.
will
I
she
want you to text me in 8 years time
yes.
and be like,
No.
it happened.
Yes.
No, she's I
The
love
first
you,
I hate
Mommy.
you is
Can
like-
I
Oh yeah,
have
my
a hug?
4-year-old's
Can
like,
have
I
a
love you
kiss?"
so much. My
Really?
4-year-old, and I'm like,
I
how's
know.
this gonna go?
Oh, they push away though. They let go. They want to
They're
be
meant
like,
to.
Yeah,
They're
they-
biologically meant to push us away so that they can be able to cope without us. That's
Yeah.
biologically what they're meant to do.
Yeah.
And they do that by pushing the buttons and by saying things like, you're annoying and get out of my face and don't touch me. They're meant to do that because they have one foot in childhood and also one foot in adulthood. And so they're really confused and overwhelmed, and they have these hormones that are starting, and it's a lot to navigate. It also makes you
So
look
just
at
like
yourself.
we don't take it personally, right?
You have to deal
Yes.
with your own shit. That's
Yeah.
why I always say parenting's about
Yes.
dealing with your own shit first.
Totally.
We had a parenting expert on, and she goes, "It's called the Q-tip theory. Quit taking it personally."
Right, right,
She was like, "You
right.
just have to like literally carry a Q-tip in your bra and like pull it out and be like, okay, don't take it personally," because some of the shit that they say is cuts like a knife. You know? I
Yeah.
mean,
My daughter was like the other day, don't be a pig. And I was like,
you're like,
I was so triggered by it too. And then I thought, she doesn't even understand fully what that even means. She just has heard it. So I got really frustrated and really overwhelmed. I was like, you can't say that. And I'm thinking about like when I was called a pig, when I was, younger. And then when I asked her, she's like, I said you were being a pig. I didn't say you were a pig. I was saying that, by eating all my food, you're being what a pig is. And I was like, what's She said, I didn't say you were one.
Right.
I was like, well, you're being a bitch. No, I didn't say that, but I thought it. I was like, no, I can't say that to her.
Would you consider yourself or yourselves gentle parents?
So gentle parenting, we learned is,
Yes.
so gentle parenting gets a really bad rap.
I don't know why.
So, well, because
makes a lot of sense.
gentle parenting is parenting with love, not fear. And
Yeah.
it doesn't mean
and respect.
yeah, and not doesn't mean
right.
not giving boundaries or solutions
Yeah.
or
That's a really simple way to put it.
Yeah.
Love, not fear.
to
Right.
parent with love, not fear. It doesn't mean
Yes.
to not parent. People
Right.
think that gentle parenting is, they do something wrong, they say something wrong, and you're just like, it's okay. That is not gentle parenting.
No.
Gentle parenting is what, like with my kids, I'm like, please don't put the ice cream all over the car. And they're like, yeah. And I'm just letting you know, don't put the ice cream all over the car because I've given you a cup to put it in. They're like, yeah. They put all the ice cream over the car and they drop their ice cream. So they don't get another ice cream and they clean up the car.
Yeah. Yeah.
Done with kindness and love. They're screaming, oh my God, no, we dropped the ice cream. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm really sorry. I love you.
Yeah.
I explained it to you. Now the consequence is you have to clean it up and you're not getting another one. And that's it. We don't
Yeah.
talk about it again. We don't go on and on. And they still are like so heightened by it.
Yeah.
And that's it. It's not
Yeah.
like you're punished. you're a bad kid, go to your room, smack. Like, it's not that.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
they learn next time, believe me, they've never dripped ice cream on the car again.
Right.
Well, it's like
That's the natural consequence.
the frustration though, like for me, I know sometimes gets, I just have to like go into my head sometimes and just sing a little ditty in my head and just kind of be like, okay, la da 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 da, because I'm like, don't lose your shit, do gentle
what you
parenting.
do with me?
But like
Like,
if you
someone
if
for
you do lose your shit,
Yeah.
because sometimes it's inevitable. You raise your
Sometimes,
voice.
right.
We get
Yeah.
dysregulated.
Yes.
That happens.
Right.
It's then where the repair stage is so essential. Like
Yes.
just like taking accountability and
Yes.
saying sorry and expressing to them that mommy was upset and you know what I mean? It's just that.
It's
Yeah.
human,
It's
right?
that, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
we fuck up sometimes,
Yes.
and you're right. I think that repair, from the experts and everything we've had come on the show, they're
Yeah.
like, it's always good for them to see the repair. It's like, because I was like, oh gosh, is it bad if they see, like if I lose my cool or if my husband and I are fighting or something like that? They're like, that's really not bad. What's bad is if they don't see, some sort of a
Right,
repair.
and just put it under the table
Or
and think that-
accountability, right? Something like that. But yeah, no, I think what you were referring to before about the parenting that's not the gentle parenting is permissive parenting,
Right.
Where they kind of just let the kids do what
Which I've been
whatever,
guilty
which
of
is
that
not-
too. I've
I
been
know,
guilty of that
sometimes
too.
it's
It's like
easier.
sometimes it's easier to just take
Yes.
it. Like
But you have a 2 and a 4-year-old, which I'm not saying is so
Yeah.
permissive parenting. Then I under that's also just self-preservation. It's just
Right.
like I
Sometimes.
would
Yes.
rather not
It's like,
lose
take
my
the
shit.
ice
Take
cream.
Take the
Take it,
iPad.
take
I
Like,
need to scroll TikTok and be sane for a
yeah,
minute.
and just disconnect.
Yes.
Like that's totally fine. I think it's when they get older where
Yeah.
they really do need those rules and
Oh,
those
yeah.
boundaries.
Yes.
And they will try to push it and they
Yeah.
will try to use it against you and they will do everything they can until they get what they want.
They get real wily when they get older. I
Yeah.
mean, like they know they've already figured out
You guys
like
are scaring me.
Yeah. You're like,
it's
this was
they're
the
teenagers
worst
before
thing
they're
to have you on the
teenagers.
show.
no, I need to hear it.
They're
Okay,
teenagers
tell me.
before they're teenagers. I mean, they are already like figuring out ways to win like this argument or kind of direct things in this way. It's pretty fascinating actually.
It's
and
kind of fun
starts early.
too.
Yeah,
It's good to be
it's spicy.
Now it's not bad.
with your with
know.
and I
Not
will
having
say-
fun?
Yeah.
Having fun. Yeah.
I think the
Not so
best
much.
advice I ever got was with relationships and like even a partner, a man, a marriage, or kids,
Right.
your friends, is just get curious about it. Like instead of it being about, when my husband's had a lot of trauma in his life, and like instead of like when he gets heightened, instead of being like, well, what's wrong with you? Go, like where is this for you? It doesn't mean you have to accept it and just be like, this is okay. But to understand with it, as long as it's not obviously through abuse and things like that. But if he's struggling, like he's really stressed, try to understand why he's stressed and try to be there. And again,
curious, not
get curious.
curious.
There you go.
That's what
There's
the
a
podcast
tagline.
should be called. Get curious with
not-
Tammin, not Salmon, Zarsock, and Roxy.
That's Dr. Amen. Get
what?
curious, not
Get curious enough here. That's
Yeah.
a good one.
Yeah.
Is that what he says?
Yes, but it's so helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to also, my therapist also says that you need to recalibrate your expectations and control your reactivity.
Whoa.
And those are the two most important things in any relationship.
Okay, I'll do it.
Done.
I
Check.
don't feel like you're a reactive person.
You don't? I was, but I think, post 25, so like I got sober at 24, 25, 25, 24, and then I had a little slip, 25. So it's been 12 years.
Yeah.
So before that, I was incredibly reactive and dangerously impulsive, and like brain's not fully developed. And then I think like with age and time, and for me, sobriety, like less reactive. I think that's natural. That happens as you get older, right?
I don't know.
You don't?
I don't know.
Come
Depends
on, a
on who
little
you're
bit.
talking to.
I don't know. I think I've been within my relationship for 16 years, and there's still times I'm pretty reactive.
Dude, I
especially
want to hear all about that.
So if you're a longtime listener, you know that I've been drinking AG1 for 2 years now. I absolutely love this nutritional supplement, you guys. When I started drinking it, I was tired all the time, and now I would say I have much more energy, even though I have 2 toddlers. AG1 is, in my opinion, the best nutritional supplement on the market. You just do a scoop every day, put it in water, shake it up, up, drink it. It tastes amazing. I do it at the start of every morning. It helps with gut health, immune support, energy, focus. It's honestly nutritional insurance. And now that I'm in my 30s, I actually care about that. If you want to try it, which I highly suggest you do, go to drinkag1.com/idiotpod. Again, that's drinkag1.com/idiotpod, and you'll get 5 free travel packs and a 1-year supply of immune supporting vitamin D. Not only did I replace my multivitamin with AG1, I love that every single scoop includes everything I need: probiotics, digestive enzymes, B12, which is super important for a vegan like me. So again, if you want to try it, it's just 1 scoop a day and you've got all your vitamins, all your nutrients in 1 drink. Go to drinkag1.com/idiotpod. Again, that's drinkag1.com/idiotpod. It's delicious, keeps you healthy. It's like you're saving on doctor bills. You know what I mean?
Okay, we're back. So your husband and you have been together for 16 years.
16 years.
And
Yes.
sometimes it can get cray-cray and you can get reactive. Has it gotten cray-cray?
It's never gone cray,
Okay.
but it's gotten slam door cray.
Okay. What happened there? You don't have to say.
Anxiety.
Yeah.
You know, we're both in the business.
Yeah.
And, you know, this business is whack. Like,
How
it's
did you
just,
meet?
At a movie.
Okay.
He was the director of my movie. He's 12 years older. And I had a sort of on and off again boyfriend. I was 22 when I met my husband.
Okay.
Like 21, yeah. And I got to the movie set and we had like pre-production for 2 weeks. And the day before the movie started, there was like this knock on the door. And I opened the door and he's like, "I'm falling in love with you." And I was like, "Close off!" No, I waited till the second day for that.
Okay.
No. But then
Wow.
then he tried to kiss me for 3 hours, and I was like, "No."
But I'm falling in love with you. Had you just met? How long had you
2
known him?
weeks. So 2 weeks of pre-production.
Okay.
But the crazy thing is when we were going through our garage, like when we were leaving LA, there was the old audition sheet, which had all the pictures of all the girls who were auditioning for the part that I was auditioning for. And he circled me and he wrote, "She's the one."
Whoa.
And I was like, that is manifestation realized,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I was like, oh my goodness. And it's, you know, looking back, I think there's so much that's going on right now about like, you know, the abuse of power and things like that.
Yeah.
And because we worked out, I think it was all good. But yeah, like he was the director. So, you know, he probably shouldn't have fallen in love with his leading lady.
And like, what if you didn't feel the same way?
I
What
know.
would have happened then?
I know. I think
He
I
probably
think if
would've
it
been
was
fine.
I think if it was now 16, he's such a good guy that it
Yeah.
would have been fine. But I think now he would never have done that. Like if we'd met now, because the
Totally.
rules are different, right?
Isn't that wild how the
So-
culture shifted so much in
Yeah.
the last?
So
well, because
much.
of Me
And
Too.
people, there's also people probably would not meet now like they did before. Because men are going to be so worried to like even ask a girl out, and you know, my husband would never have done that.
Also, your husband would have just been like on Tinder, like
Swipe.
Raya.
So that was it, and then he moved in straight away, and
He moved in.
he moved into my place after
What
the.
was this before or after the old boyfriend that was in the closet?
Okay,
So you had a boyfriend in the closet.
I had a boyfriend, on and off boyfriend at the time. Okay,
in
and
your
you can't
closet.
judge me because I was 21 years old. So anything that happens before 30.
30. Okay. I was gonna say 25, but 30.
No,
Okay,
but like
30. All
I
right.
was just trying to give people some room, right?
Give him some room.
Yeah. For me, before 22,
Yeah. Okay.
I wipe out. So I was on and off again boyfriend, and I remember my husband, the guy that I was dating at the time, Sean, who's now my husband, he was sleeping in his new apartment, which is my apartment in Beverly Hills, and the on and off again boyfriend keyed in because he had a key, and I forgot that I gave him a key because I was like, forgot to get it back, and he brought bagels. And my husband went and hid in the closet. He was like my boyfriend, but my husband now went and hid in the closet with my dog. And my dog hated him. And I remember the dog looking at him being like, I could fuck you up right now. Like I could really.
No.
Yeah.
I could ruin this for
And the dog was like staring at him and he was like, oh my God, don't screw me up right now. Don't.
Wasn't he like scratching him?
Yeah, he was like, because the dog
naked?
loved me but hated Sean because it was like took over his, over his territory. And I remember my on and off again boyfriend walked in and he's like, whose backpack is that? And I was like, it's mine. It's my
No,
backpack.
but you guys weren't really together, or you were.
The boyfriend was on and off again.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like, but it was kind of the on stage.
It was on.
Yeah.
But it was 21.
Yeah.
It was 21.
21,
On again, off
you
again,
guys.
21.
21.
And he like was so nice to me, and I
Literally.
felt so bad. And
Yeah,
he was
yeah,
just
I get
so
it.
sweet. And I was
Yes.
like, oh, he's such a
Yes.
good guy. And I
Yes.
broke up, and then he cried, and I felt bad, and it was like a whole thing. But I was like super in love with my husband, boyfriend at the time, and he never. I said the backpack was mine, and he walked out, and that was it. But
I
it
think
was
you said he
emotional.
sat there for like an hour.
He
though,
did.
didn't he? He like sat on the bed and was
Like,
like,
so
damn
anyway.
it.
Yeah, and Sean's sitting there with the dog,
like an
and
hour.
we're like, please stop, please just hurry up, please just hurry up.
And then how long were you and Sean together before he proposed? Or
We would have got married straight away, but he was going through a really not a great divorce, and then in
Okay.
the state of California, there is like a no-fault state. You know that, so I'm not going to go into their divorce, but he had to pay alimony for like half of the time they were together. They were together for 10 years. So I wanted that all to be over and all that whole stuff. So we waited so he was already paying her. So we waited about 3.5 years before we got married.
okay,
Yeah. And then
probably
we've been
better.
together.
You got to know him more.
Yeah, 3.5 years before. And then
You know?
we got engaged and we got married in Italy with 20 people.
Whoa,
Best
Nice
thing
and
ever.
small.
that's really cool.
I wish you were there. We got drunk and danced to Spice Girls and
Oh, I do love a good Spice Girl jam.
yeah. If you want to be my lover in Italy, 3 a.m. in the morning, like, is there a better way to go out?
With a glass of champagne. I mean, not
I
really.
love that. That's
You know?
awesome. But you said you sober for a year?
I've been sober for a year. Never had a problem with alcohol. Just not good for my mental health.
Wait, for real? For real? You just
Yeah.
decided to get sober?
Yeah.
The fuck is wrong with you?
Because I don't have an issue with it. Wait,
Literally,
because
yeah.
I don't have an issue with it.
Yes.
Yeah, I would only have a couple drinks a week.
Okay.
That would be my go-to.
Yeah.
But I would feel really anxious the next day. And then, so what I would do is I'd have 2 drinks on a Friday, have 1 or 2 drinks on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Sunday, I'd feel like shit.
Yeah.
On Monday, I'd be anxious because it takes like a while to get out of your system.
Yeah.
Tuesday, I'm like trying to catch up for all the stuff I didn't do on Monday. I'd have a great day on Wednesday, Thursday, and then I'd drink on Friday again.
Okay.
So I had like 2 good days a week.
So it did affect you.
It did affect me.
Yeah.
It definitely affected my mental health.
Yeah.
And the fights that would happen would normally be after I drank even a glass of
Really?
wine.
Do you find like if you had one, you wanted to have another?
I could always stop at 2.
Yeah.
Like I never needed to be drunk.
But it still affected you.
Yeah,
to the
you
point.
weren't drunk though, right? Like
No,
after 2?
I've never really
No.
had. I mean, 2 affects someone who doesn't drink a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, tequila. I'm like, where's the stripper ball?
Yeah.
Tequila's like,
Gotta go.
I love the feeling.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
didn't. Sometimes I'm like, the 2 hours that you have that feels great. Is it worth the week that you don't?
Totally.
You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
Absolutely.
And for me,
Absolutely.
it was a lot more anxiety, depression, all
Yeah.
the things that I just didn't.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Doesn't
That's
affect
really
you.
cool.
It does affect your mood.
Maybe a little, you know, I feel kind of tired sometimes the next day, but for me now, the older I get, the physical, like the actual physical body, like my stomach might hurt, I might have a
Okay.
headache. It's like
Right.
those physical manifestations.
Can't go to the bathroom. Can't
They
poop.
come, yeah, or it's the opposite, and it's like
poop
can't
too
stop.
much.
Okay.
Just
Right?
do it everywhere.
Just like shitting.
Just, you know,
Okay.
like as one does, you know,
Yeah.
all day long.
But that's not a reason to stop.
No, I'm like, I like to shit
Never.
sometimes.
Just like fucking
There
shit.
you go. When you're constipated, just do the tequila. There you go. No, but for me, I don't know. I can have like 2 or 3 like on a night out and just be okay after that and be like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm done. Like I noticed for me, maybe like 2 to 3 is like the marker. Like if I go
Right.
more than that, I'm gonna feel like dog shit the next day. Like
Yeah.
physically feel bad. So I kind of have to pull back now. I mean, I think it's gotten worse
Yeah.
since I've gotten older.
It does.
just
It affects our
takes
hormones.
longer to get recovery. Yeah.
Hormones are great as we get older. It's just a shit show.
Is it a shit show?
It's a shit
I have bad PMS.
Yeah, it gets worse.
It gets worse.
Yeah, I think I'm a couple years older than you. It definitely gets worse.
Really?
I think so.
You guys are just giving me so much shit news.
Look forward to
Don't
it.
you feel great? This is a great-
Parenting, it gets worse. The older your kids get, worse.
Worse.
I just feel like in
older you
on the
get
airplane,
worse.
when they tell them in the airplane the turbulence is going to get worse and it doesn't, you're like, that wasn't so bad.
Okay.
So that's what we're trying to do.
That's what you're
There it
trying.
is.
Okay,
We're
I
trying
like
to give
this.
you like to know that everything's gonna be like shit, and then you're like,
Low
this isn't
expectations.
so bad.
Low
It's not so
expectations.
bad.
Not so bad.
Whoa. Wait, like what's bad about it? More mood swings or what?
I think it's more mood swings. It's more, especially PMS, like right before period hits.
I'm
I feel-
psychotic already.
Oh my God. Well, that's the
before.
thing. Anything sets me off. Like if my husband like doesn't put like a dish back right, I will fucking.
I'm so.
But it's
I will
crazy.
stab him.
Stab him,
Yeah.
right? Like kill him.
Yeah.
If he does the same thing after my period, I'm like, okay, it's fine.
Okay, babe.
Yeah.
It's because of the estrogen and progesterone.
Is that
and
what
you have
it
less
is?
progesterone as you get older, and the progesterone is what
Okay.
keeps you chill. I think being pregnant, I actually like being pregnant because you have so much progesterone.
Samesies.
Which is that calm feeling, which a
okay.
lot of people who have anxiety struggle with, like those imbalances when it comes. So normally people, like when you ovulate and you have anxiety, it's really bad for you too because your progesterone drops and your estrogen raises. When you have too much estrogen and you're estrogen dominant, then you're also feeling like super anxious. So, I mean, it's all of it. It's just
But
sometimes
how
I
do
just
you know if you're estrogen dominant or not? How do you,
you
find
should.
that out?
So I don't suffer from depression unless it's day 9 to 11 of my cycle, and I suffer a little bit of depression around that time, and it's
Okay.
because I'm estrogen dominant, so I've got double estrogen, and that if
okay.
you're finding yourself depressed or down within that small window,
Right.
it's because you're estrogen dominant.
Just knowing that is helpful.
Yeah.
You know? Like I'll
Just
have
knowing.
that too, where it's like it just feels like,
Why
it's
did I wake up like this?
yeah, like nothing's gonna get better. Just
Nothing.
like deep depression. And then just understanding, okay, this is hormonal, this will pass.
Yeah.
Is helpful.
It is. It's hard to deal with it when you do feel that hopeless feeling too, because I mean, life goes on. Kids don't care. You know, you have to get up.
They don't
and you
give a
have to-
shit.
They
if you're
don't give a
depressed.
shit
They don't
about your
care.
mental health.
No.
Kind of nice though, because it like forces you to focus on something else.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
So I know from your Instagram, have you only suffered from depression or anxiety post kids or postpartum, or you've had that before?
Before, I would say like from puberty, like when honestly, when I became a teenager, it came on. It wasn't all the time. You know, I would say like I was a primarily content, happy kid. Like I was wild and out there, but like had a lot of fun. It just, I did struggle with depression here and there, but honestly, like I'm always like, who doesn't?
Right.
But some people don't.
Some people don't.
I'm like, suicidal ideation, anyone? And they're like, no. I'm like, huh? You never think about it?
When people are not anxious, I'm like,
How
wait,
don't you think
what?
about that?
Yeah.
How do you know?
Everybody has to have anxiety. I mean, everybody has to. There's no way.
Sure, but I do think certain
People are getting
places,
out of this life
Australians,
without it.
I don't know.
Right?
Right? Like that's a part of life.
I
Right?
hear some people's brains are just quiet.
How is that?
Yeah.
What's that about?
So I once took a Xanax on an airplane because I hate flying, and I felt no anxiety, and I panicked because
Dude, I had such bad anxiety on a plane once, like pre-sobriety. I was freaking out because I was like in middle seat and I'm like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know.
I know.
And the woman next to me goes, just take this. And it was Xanax. She goes, take it. And I turned to my sister and she goes, take it. And I was like, all right. I take it and I was chill the whole
I know
time.
I need some of those.
Yeah.
No, so fucking addictive. Well, if you're not an addict,
I'm
you're
not.
fine.
I
would
took-
snort it week 3.
You're like,
Wait, snorting it. That's
I mean,
creative.
I wouldn't really. I'm exaggerating.
I know, I'm like, that's creative.
You're like, hold on, tell me more. What else can I snort? But no, I wouldn't really snort it on its own. No,
I know.
But like,
Like,
I'm just
just
saying,
put it
it's,
up.
it's an incredibly addictive drug, and
oh,
I
it is. I
know
took
if
it postpartum actually. They gave it to me postpartum.
okay.
Because
Oh,
they
they
said
did?
not breastfeeding, but they told me that it would help my anxiety postpartum, and it made me so much more depressed.
Did it make you depressed when you didn't take it? Like
No.
you felt dependent on it, type thing?
It's interesting because I feel like anxiety is this double-edged sword where for me, it paralyzes me, but it also gives me a drive. And the reason why I think I've had some kind of success is because it also motivates me.
Interesting.
So it paralyzes and motivates me.
Yeah.
So without it, I'm quite empty. So postpartum, I already felt kind of empty, but I felt anxious, which is strange. So I felt like paralyzed, anxiety, and empty. And then the Xanax just made me feel empty upon empty.
I see.
But I think it would be great in an airplane, except it does make me stressed and I feel no anxiety.
That's really funny.
I was like, I'm panicking. I feel nothing. I'm panicking because I found
I'm
nothing.
panicking because I'm not panicking.
I'm like, why is
Why
my
aren't I
heart not going
panicking?
on? It's a very strange feeling when you feel no anxiety in a situation that you've always told yourself is anxiety
Well, it's almost
inducing.
comfort to you too. Like you've always had it, so
Yeah,
it's like you've always
I'm almost addicted to it. And
Right.
I always have to ask my therapist, is this my stuff? Or has this just been given to me?
Dude, stress addiction is a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if we grew up in a chaotic environment, we are like literally addicted to that,
Wired
that
for it, yeah.
stress.
And you actually find, someone told me, it's not like you're searching for conflict, you're actually just searching for friction. So when you're addicted to stress and anxiety, you're just, so my anxiety is much less after we do all our podcasts because we shoot 6 or 7 shows and there's been so much friction, and it's not negative, there's just so much, right? That I'm like calm at the end of the day because I've gone through it all, right? The stress of it all. But if I have nothing on, I'm anxious.
No, totally. I'm always the least anxious after like a big shoot day or like just a productive day of any
Right.
kind.
Right.
You know, it calms. Have you guys read The Power of Now?
Yes.
I haven't read it. Is
It's
it
great. Long time ago.
Have to, right?
Yeah, a long time ago too. It's Eckhart
Okay, cool.
Tolle, but basically his whole philosophy is that he believes our natural state is bliss, that our natural state is contentment, and that the reason that we are riddled, most of us are riddled with depression or anxiety, is because we spend 70% of our lives
Not here.
living in the past or the future. Okay, and his solution is to be present, to just be here right now. So like if you're anxious, you're thinking about the future, you're thinking about what is. If you're depressed, you're normally thinking about what was, right? And either like longing for what was or like traumatized by what was, whatever it is. But that the only way to attain inner peace and bliss is to be right here, right now. So it's like as simple as just being present, which sounds easier
Right, than it
is.
actually is,
Anxiety
right?
is
Yeah.
what?
Oh,
Thinking
yeah.
about like, what do I have to do in an hour? What do I have to do next week?
Right.
How is this going to go? Is it going to work out? Is it not going to work
Right.
out? And then the depression of like, oh, it could have been like this or whatever.
Right.
But just bring yourself right back to this room right here, right now. Like we're actually okay right now in this moment, right?
This is life right
I
now.
find that with
It's
my
now.
kids
Yeah.
sometimes.
Kind of nice.
Yeah, that's really
Kids
that's
keep
a
you
good
present.
concept to kind of like hold on
It's
to.
just being consciously
Yeah.
aware of like, where's my brain right now? And it's
Right.
okay to like plan your week because that's
Right.
conscious. You're, but to just like be aware and bring
Right.
yourself back to this moment. I don't know. It's helpful.
Yeah, really helpful.
My kids make me
Meditation
present.
helps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They make you, they're like, clean up this shit
Kids,
now.
kids make you present, definitely.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
But I feel that it's interesting. My mental health is so affected by social media.
Oh, girl.
And yet our jobs are, people don't understand. They think that, these videos just come
for
out of
fun.
thin air
Right, right.
or the pot, like it's a lot of work. People don't understand that it can be sometimes 12-hour days.
People don't understand like how
It's so hard to be
No, but yeah.
No, I'm not saying it's hard. I'm sorry.
Like a Pantene. No,
I'm not saying it's hard. I'm not saying it's hard. For fuck's sake.
it is. You're right. I'm just messing
I'm
with
not
you.
saying it's hard.
No, it is hard. It is. What's hard for me is the the scrolling.
Constant. Yes, I'm saying that being.
No.
But sometimes you are working 12-hour days, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when it comes to time, I'm talking about
Yeah.
what's hard about it is you spend a lot of time creating.
Yeah.
Which could be 12 hours a day. And that doesn't even include the time that when you're off the clock, figuring out what you're going to create for the next day.
Yeah.
So it's a full-time gig,
Yes.
right? If you're getting paid for anything, it's a full-time gig. If you're shooting an ad, sometimes that takes 12 hours. It takes 2 days sometimes, right?
Yeah.
But then it's the after effects of it, which for me is not healthy for me to be on social media. Because it's also your job, so you have to know what's going on.
But you're looking at the results. You're looking at
Yeah.
the comments or what are they
like,
saying?
is it good enough? Is it? And I know that people understand it more than we think they do. Because
Yeah.
even if this is not their job, they probably also feel kind of shit being on social media,
Totally.
right?
Yes.
And it's our brain is releasing so much dopamine,
Yeah.
and it's wearing out those pleasure centers that we're just like, we are unhappy. I noticed that after a day on social media more than other days, I haven't been on it today at all, and I feel great. But
Right?
I bet you if I'm at home and just scrolling all day, I'll feel like rubbish.
Shit. And we do it before bed too, which is worse.
Yeah.
You know, because that's what you're thinking about as you're sleeping and going
And you
into your-
can't help
Yeah.
but like compare and
Yes.
despair sometimes.
Yes.
Or yeah, it can be horrible, but it can be fun.
Right.
I guess it's about just like limiting your time on there. I know for me, it's just about. I'm happiest when I post and like maybe give myself a few minutes to make sure I didn't just get canceled for whatever I said, and then after that, like just move on with my day. You
Are
know,
you
like-
afraid now because things are so sensitive that because your comedy is pretty out there that you've had to censor yourself a lot about what you want to say, or like not even what you want to say,
Yeah.
but the skits that you want to do? Because again, like isn't TikTok, there's so many things that, I mean, how many videos have you done that have been taken down, or not many? Because I know Chelsea Lynn had an issue with that. So many of her videos were taken down.
Yeah, Chelsea's disgusting though. I mean, she whips her tit out and kills a cockroach with it, and it's just like a normal video for her. Like, just I fucking love it. For me, like I started out because I've been doing this for so many years. Like when I started out, I was really raunchy. I did not care about like I wasn't thinking about brand deals and like being
Right.
brand safe or like whatever, like monetizing videos. I was just like, I'm gonna do what's funny to me,
Right.
and some of my comedy was really raunchy, really inappropriate, and it just didn't matter because it was what was funny to me. And that kind of was the thing that started to blow me up. But then I was
Right.
like, wait, I want to be able to buy food and eat, so I need to like stop saying cunt and fuck so much and just
Yeah.
like, you know, write comedy that's more brand safe. Which like I can do that.
Which is great, but it's also hard as an artist to have to censor.
It's a challenge.
It's a
though.
challenge.
It's like, why can't you be funny and clean? You can. You know.
You can, but
Yeah.
it's sometimes not as funny.
It's fun.
And it's not as funny.
It's not as funny, but like, yeah. So I kind of cleaned up. So I would say my content's not that inappropriate now, and maybe it still is, and I just like don't.
Yeah, you're like, it's
No.
fine.
compared to what it was,
Yeah,
right?
compared to what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's fun to just be able to be that I miss those days too of just being able to like be out there and just be who you are, because
Right.
people who truly know who you are know that you're not out there to like
And things get taken
ascend-
so out of
right,
context and
They
like
do.
clickbait,
That's
and
the problem.
you know,
It's wild.
It's wild.
A lot of my comedy stemmed from reality, right?
Right.
So like, and I do a lot of characters as well, which have nothing to do with my reality. I mean, I guess like they're extensions of me in a way, but like, so I would do characters, but then a lot of my comedy was about like when I got pregnant, you know, I was like, oh, this is funny. Like I'm peeing myself. Like that's funny to pee
Right.
yourself, right?
Right.
So like, let me write about that. And so I just started writing about like motherhood and like being pregnant and life with a newborn and all of that. And my relationship and my marriage. And then now I'm going through this divorce, and it's like interesting because there's this like part of me that's like, oh, there's so much good divorce content here. Like funny.
but you can,
Right.
Or you can, or you can't.
Well, it's, you know,
it's sensitive.
it's it's sensitive. So I've like backed off, you know, we're still friendly and
So hard. I can't
But-
even imagine going
yeah.
through that, especially with other people caring so
oh
deeply.
dude, it was like
Or or the person that I was divorcing having the reign to like also talk about me or
Yes.
my life or my children.
Yes.
That would be, I'm married to a man that doesn't even know how to post a TikTok. So I think we would be good. But,
Yeah.
But imagine he did. Like it would be
Yes.
hard for me
Yes.
to be able to deal with that.
yeah, exactly. It is. It's a struggle, but I don't know if I'm dissociating or just like in acceptance. I can't tell if I'm like practicing.
That's like my whole life. I'm just like, am I having
Dissociating,
an
yeah.
episode, or is this? Am I just being free from
yeah,
that?
or am I just like that enlightened that I don't let it
Maybe
get
it's
to
a
me?
bit. Maybe
I
it's a
don't
bit of
know.
both. Maybe it's also self-preservation of just
I don't
Safety.
have time. Yes.
you know, for yourself and your mental health and physical health. Like sometimes you just have to.
And as
keep
a
moving.
mom, you have to be okay. Like
Yeah.
you have to be.
You have
So
to.
you figure it out.
There's a mourning period, though,
You
right?
have to. You have no other
have to.
choice. It's
Yes.
survival.
Yes.
Do you feel like you're still mourning it, or mourning the could have been? because I mean, everything was fine. Well, I don't know the intricacies of
You're
it.
like,
but-
everything was fine. Laura.
It's 100%
You seem so
perfect.
cozy.
fine.
I saw that one video.
But like it
You were-
seemed like you guys were
guys were in
creating
your
and it was
honeymoon
fine,
phase.
and then it wasn't.
No, yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
But there's
and it
agreement.
was like it was. I mean, we had our challenges. We were married 11 years, so there were definitely ups and downs, and like that was talked about. Like there was a period 8 years ago where we separated for 3-4 months, which honestly I had a great time during that. I like got a
bet.
little guest house in Venice. I was just chilling.
Yeah.
But you know, it is what it is, and we ended
Yeah.
up getting back together and working through that. And you know, I don't know. Yeah, there's a part of me that's sad about it still. That's human. But like, I'm also just practicing accepting the reality of what is. And also, you know, I don't know, he lives a mile down the road. Like, we're able to play with the kids and spend time together. And like, we're still very friendly. And
Right.
I don't know, like, it just feels right, you know? So I don't, maybe I'm dissociating, but I'm okay, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a hard thing. They say that divorce is literally
Right.
up there with, you know, death.
There was
It's
something
just
kind
as
of
a death of
Honestly,
you
it's
know.
not that bad.
But sometimes
Yeah.
sometimes when it's not a good situation, it's also wonderful and hopeful.
Well, him and I like literally got a mediator, and we're not like I think there's some people who will like fight and like spend all their money like fighting for years about like I want that, I want this, da, 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 and it's just nasty
Right.
and vindictive, and like it's not been perfect, trust me. And there's been things that have happened that are wild that I won't necessarily get into. But like we also, I don't know, the actual divorce process has been pretty peaceful. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's not ideal.
It's a good divorce.
It's not ideal, but it's also not my whole fucking life. I think
Right.
people are so obsessed, especially in this culture, with romantic love being the only type
Right.
of
Right.
love, significant love, and that is such bullshit. I think what I've learned this past year is like the importance of platonic love, family love, like
self-love.
self-love.
Right, sister? Yeah,
There's
yeah,
so much
yeah.
love in my life. I don't
Yes.
feel like, you know, that I'm not experiencing love because of that. That's just one person. And to make your partner your everything,
Can't do that.
no, it's like a resentment waiting to happen. You know, it's so important, I think,
Right.
to have like a good sense of community or like a group of friends and family. There's so many different types of love that are just like undervalued
Right.
here. I don't know.
And
That's
if you
kind
want
of
a
what I'm
relationship, if that's something that's on the cards, why not? Like you have now the openness for that if you want that into your life.
thinking. Yeah.
Or if you don't, even.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to just hang single.
Exactly.
I could just do anything.
I know.
My husband's gone until December, and I'm like, I can do anything.
But
I
wait,
want.
but can you?
Yeah, I mean, I can't go and like
Really?
sleep with other men.
Oh.
But
Well, that's what we're talking about.
I wouldn't judge it. I wouldn't judge that.
He thinks if I cheat on him, he'll leave me, and that's my loss. That's literally his stance. And the thing is, when you have someone who's so secure in themselves, not even in an egotistical way, it's like, well, if you want someone else, you will find someone else. And
Yeah.
what can I do about that? I'm
Yeah.
like so controlling. I'm like, no, you will not fall in love with anyone. I want to track your phone and your watch. No, I don't do that, but I want to.
Yeah.
But I don't.
But you will.
But I want to.
You will.
And probably will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You will.
No, and that's just on my own trauma and my own stuff. But I love that idea.
I
that-
identify with that.
yeah, I love that idea of like he's just like, if you want something else, what can I do about it? You know,
Love that.
what can I do about it?
What did he have, like 2 healthy, loving parents or something?
No,
What's wrong with him? No.
no, like the opposite. But I think that sometimes you come from traumatic situations,
Yes.
and you choose. Well, with therapy,
break the
you either
cycle.
break the cycle
Yeah.
and you go the complete opposite,
Yeah.
or you stay in that.
Yeah.
But he did not. He had like a really hard upbringing, and his, you know, I don't want to talk about him, but it's amazing how evolved he's been.
How's your arguing?
Depends on the day.
I know. It's,
We go to therapy together, so it's not broken.
Oh, that's cool.
When I did
That's
the
cool.
intake form, like the whatever, I was like so angry at him that day, and I was like, "How happy you're in your relationship?" I'm like, 7. How many times do you have sex a week? 4. And then I was like, and I go, I don't think our relationship's that bad.
Yeah.
They go, how committed are you to the relationship? I'm like, 10. And then I'm like, oh, like I'm so angry at you right now. But like 7, and Sean's like, 7 is terrible. And I'm like, 7's great. 7 out of 10
Yeah, that's
is
good.
great. It's probably like a 9, but like in that moment, it
Yeah.
was a low 7.
Yeah.
Hey, it can't always be a 9, right? I mean,
always
it
be
has
that.
to
And
be.
sometimes it's
It
a
depends
5.
on the day.
You know,
Yeah.
sometimes it's a 5 and sometimes
Yeah.
it's a 10. It just depends on 2 people navigating with children and careers and money, and like it's a lot to continue a relationship
Totally.
and hear each other and love languages and attachment styles and
Anxious?
how did you
How'd you know? What did I say?
what did I say about that?
I think it was the tracking the car and tracking the phone comment. That kind of gave it away.
I wouldn't do it, but I would like to.
No, I know, but that's where our brains go.
Yeah.
Right.
Are you
I-
anxious attachment?
I definitely skew that way.
Oh,
The goal
okay.
is secure, but
I go to her, I'm like, do I look like I go, it sucks because whenever I film, I look like a puffer fish. She didn't go, no, you don't. She goes, the reason is, who answers with that?
wait, but what's the reason?
I was gonna say because sometimes
No,
the
you
camera
don't.
angle-
But what's the
See?
No, you don't. No, you,
See.
no,
I was
you
gonna
don't.
say,
What's the reason?
sometimes
So.
there's different camera angles, and some angles are more
It's
flattering
not
than
about the
it's
others.
camera
not about-
angles.
no, she
it's
doesn't.
About, it's about the salt that you eat when you get into places, when you travel. You're eating like the tuna tartare all the
And
time
it's-
with the cones and
Yeah,
the tuna
yeah,
tartare.
yeah,
Everyone
yeah.
eats tuna tartare here, and your
yeah.
face like
Soy.
all the
It's
salts.
salt.
It's
Yeah.
soy?
It's soy. I think it's
soy.
a soy sauce. Soy, soy,
soy sauce. Oh my
that
god, you
damn
made
soy
me eat
sauce.
soy. You made me eat sesame dressing.
Oh, that's it. That's it.
That's it. You
That's
gave me
it.
sesame
That's it.
dressing
Okay.
before the shoot,
That's
so
it.
my face looks
There
all
it is.
salty.
There's your explanation.
That's it.
But you don't look like a puffer
Yeah,
fish.
thanks.
A puffer fish.
Puffer fishes
so
are cute
cute.
though.
Oh,
I
they're
know.
so cute.
They're
so
super
cute.
cute.
Yeah, but
We love a good
fish.
puffer.
So anxiously attached, what are you?
So I think I am. Wait, what's the one that's like? We talked about this with the other. What am I?
The avoidance.
Avoidance.
The avoidance.
The avoidance.
Avoids
The
everything.
avoidance. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I'm the avoidance attachment. I like to avoid things. And
Yeah,
kind
she
of
doesn't deal with it at
pretend
all.
like they're not there. Maybe they'll go away if they go under that desk for a while.
Okay,
Like,
okay.
Like,
you
we
know, it
never
just
talk
kinda
about our
moves.
fights. We just see each other and.
Yeah.
But I feel like you would want to talk about them.
Yeah, so
and then
my
you're
husband.
like,
So when we fight,
Yeah,
when my
exactly.
husband and I fight, I want to resolve and repair.
yes.
And he needs 24 hours to breathe.
hate
I
it.
can't
Hate it.
stand
Hate that.
it. It's
Hate
just
that
like
about him.
and then I will go to bed, and then 20 minutes later I'll be like, go to bed. I'm going to bed. He'll go somewhere else. I go to somewhere else, and then I'll come in 20 minutes later. I'll be like, I can't believe you went to bed.
Yeah.
He's like, you told me to, and I was like, yeah, but you should be wanting to talk about this.
yeah. Wait, but where's your accent? It comes and goes.
I know.
What's up?
I
What's
know.
up?
People, Australians are very upset about it.
But tell me, like,
Okay.
is it
So
what's
I
going
was
on?
very Australian when I came here.
like do
very,
it.
I was very Australian when I came here.
Do a full deep dive accent.
You know what?
you-
I'm going to tell the story in
Okay.
an Australian
Okay,
accent.
okay.
So I was really Australian when I came here.
Okay.
And
More. I need more.
No,
more.
because then it's
No,
like
do
it's
what's
like
no-
it's
do
like
what's
a big
normal.
it's like a big joke if like it's
a
really
joke,
over the
yeah.
top.
Okay, I
Because
like
people
that.
don't really talk like this intensely.
Yeah.
But when I came here, I was like, had such an Australian accent. Like when you look at my old footage from the TV shows, and I was like, "Oh, Joe, come over here and give me a kiss." Like it
Yeah.
was like so Australian.
Yeah. How are you going? Did you
Yeah,
say that?
how you going? Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Dad's angry at me. Like it's kind of like that's my acting's great. Don't you see?
Yes,
it's
yes.
amazing.
I see
Award
why
winning.
you got the job.
And I continued.
Yeah.
So then I got here, I had a very strong Australian accent, and I was actually struggling to have an American. To when I went into an audition, I'd have an Australian accent. I'd be like, "Hi, nice to meet you, Mary. My name's Tammin Sursock." And then I'd have to like be like, "Joe, don't go over there." And it was just such a bad American accent. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't strong.
Yeah.
And I needed to get a green card because I had an O1 visa. And so I had to get a job. If I didn't get a job, I was, at some point, my O1 visa was going to run out. I needed to get a green card. So I needed to get a job. So I got the audition for Young and the Restless. to take over a character that had been on there, beloved character who was on Young and the Restless for a very long time when I was 21, and I got the job. And she was very American.
Yeah.
And I was speaking in an American accent when I was shooting, and my Australian accent kept coming out. And I got called up to the office, and they said, "Listen, you've been on the show for like 6 weeks. And I remember the day so well, they're like, if you don't have a great American accent,
If you don't stop saying no.
if you keep going like, Joe, come over here. No, I don't like it. We're gonna have to recast you."
Yeah.
So I was devastated. I remember telling my husband, my boyfriend at the time, Sean, because we were just started dating. I was like, "What do I do?" He's like, "You have to not break it." I was like, "I'm gonna be method." So after that meeting, I just kept speaking in an American accent for the entire almost duration of that job. And I was like, because I kept thinking they were gonna fire me. They didn't. I was on that show for about 2 years.
And your parents just thought you lost your mind.
I was like,
would you call them like, "Hey mom, hey dad"?
Hi. No, they were like, "Oh my God, she's a method actor."
Yeah.
And then I kind of I just didn't lose it.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes actors, people don't understand that when you live in a place and you are musically inclined and you are speaking in an accent for whatever reason, it's not like a normal person coming to a different country. Like I had to speak in an accent for a year. I was on that show every single day.
Yeah.
It wasn't like I was doing it for a week and then went home. I was on the show every day for 2 years, 5 days a week.
Yeah.
And we were shooting 100 pages a day. So, I was there for 12 hours a day shooting in an American accent and then trying to stay in it.
Yes.
And then when I go back to Australia, it definitely comes out.
No, definitely.
There's definitely words that come out, and it's on and off. But I think the Australians get very frustrated because firstly, they don't understand the genesis of it, and secondly, I feel like there's a subconscious thing about like you might have shunned being an Australian, but I haven't. Like I love Australia, I love being an Australian, but I think it's the one thing that I get all the time. It's like people are very frustrated by it.
I identify with it. I'm also Australian. I don't know if I told you guys, but no, like literally yes.
Like no way.
It's actually not bad. It's bad. You gotta teach me. I need specific. But but I'm Chicago. Like when I moved here when I was 17, I was like, oh my God, I'm in Hollywood.
Yeah.
That was my voice. It was so different.
Yeah.
And you just lose your accent from living in LA.
Right.
Yeah. I didn't mean to lose it. Right. When I go back home, I'm like, Mom, are we having potatoes tonight or what?
Yeah.
Like
it comes back.
Yeah.
You lost your Dallas twang.
Sure.
So it was interesting for me because, I came from my family, on my mom's side, who's from a tiny town in East Texas.
Right.
Very thick, like Texas twang. I mean, she was like, honey, you need to be fixed. Are you fixing to go to the grocery store? Because I need to pick up, some eggs.
Yeah.
So she would be like that. But then my dad is Pakistani. So he came to this country, first generation immigrant. So he was like, oh, Betty, are you going to go study? Now go study your science, okay?
So cute.
Their strongest accents.
Dad is the cutest.
Oh, thank you. Their accents canceled each other out.
Yeah.
Like it's just,
So you were like,
it was
Yeah.
So I kind of got neutralized in a way.
Sure.
But I will say, if I am drinking, having a cocktail,
Which
something,
side do you go?
The Texan definitely comes out of
My
that.
South African
You're
cousin.
fixing to get wasted.
I'm fixing to get wasted.
Okay.
Huh? Where
My South
is it?
African, my parents are from South Africa, and they're like, "Who's over there at the door?" They talk like that, and they don't. They have a bit more Australian, but there's definitely my whole family's in South Africa. My parents are in Australia, and I'm here. So yeah, it's just a lot. It's just a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
A lot.
No,
And I
I
just
get
think
it.
like who cares? Like again, who cares about people's bodies? Who cares about the way they talk?
Yes.
Like it doesn't matter. No
Yeah.
one's trying to pull a fast one.
Yeah. Yes.
You know.
Totally. Yeah.
Right.
Unless.
Unless. Yeah.
Well, you might just be scheming. I mean, those people probably think you're just scheming to try to get the perfect American accent
I
and to
just-
lose your Australian identity entirely.
And I always say
That's-
my comment to them
that's
is like I have four words to say to you: Mel Gibson, Portia de Rossi, both Australian.
Right.
Yeah,
Portia
both
de
Australian.
Rossi is 3 words. said 2.
Is it really?
Portia.
Portia de Rossi, right?
It's like a hyphenate.
Is
like
it
an
stuck
ad.
together?
It's an ad.
Together.
Definitely that.
From now on, we'll be like, this is Portia de Rossi. Rossi Portia.
She's Australian?
She
Exactly.
Wait, but hold on. That reminds me of Ellen. Why?
Yes.
I'm sad. I'm sad that
know.
everyone turned on her and like I don't believe that she's Satan. Why do people say that?
She was like the most beloved
Is that
person,
true?
like right in
We don't-
Hollywood, and it
Is
just
it true?
turned on and
We don't know.
Guys, you don't know.
We don't. Do you know?
Well,
We should call her.
let me just text her.
Tell me.
We should-
Ellen, why are
Yeah.
you
Are
trying to be
you
Satan?
Satan? Can someone text
She'll be right back.
Ellen?
She'll be like, maybe.
Just
You
the
know
devil
who
emoji?
would- You know who would know is Oprah. We should
Inspired.
probably text her.
Oprah. She would know.
Oprah would know. She's gonna know the
Whoa.
juice.
Do you want to
yeah.
go on Oprah? Like, what's your top?
I don't have it. Like,
Do you care about success?
No.
Fame?
Do you care? No.
Money?
I'm in my I don't care phase.
Yeah. You're like, I am
No.
disconnected.
I literally don't.
Disassociated now.
Like, what is
My
what is
priori-
your thing?
Yeah.
Like, what's your drive? Obviously, people go, my kids. I get it. But what's
Yeah,
your?
I
What's,
get it. You love your fucking kids.
I always say
cool.
to people, what's your greatest achievement with not
And not
including
your
your
kids.
kids?
Not including your
But like,
fucking
what,
kids.
what makes you
Jesus
tick?
Christ.
If it's is it success? Is it fame? Is it money? Is it dry? Is it creative? What is it?
Well, I think my priorities have shifted majorly because, like, when I moved here at 17, it was like to be on a sitcom and to be on SNL. Like, I was just always really funny, and that was my only skill. And I was like, I gotta do something with this, like, cause that's it. And so, like, I came here and I did. By like 22, 23, I was a full-time working actress doing sitcoms and commercials and stuff like that, but still auditioning my whole life, and it was 90%, 95% rejection, no creative control. I wanted to write my own stuff, create my own stuff, and like you don't have a lot of like creative control when you're an actor. It's like you're at the whim of whatever director wants to hire you or doesn't. So then I started writing my own stuff and putting it on social media, and I did it sort of addictively. I posted a video a day for a year, and within 6 months I had my first viral video. And like it kind of, and then I was like, oh, it's not really about the sitcom or the movie. It's like I'm using my like skill to I'm using that and like posting it, and okay, I'm not talking very well. So it wasn't about the sitcom or the movie. It was about like doing what made me happy and what I felt I was good at, and like sharing that with the world.
Purpose.
That's
Right.
literally it. And so it was just like,
But what if that didn't make you money? Like, I know now we can sit there,
Yeah.
like all of us who in the creative world and are actually
Yeah.
monetizing it. But what would you feel like if you were putting it out into the world, but you couldn't monetize that? Is that something that you would continue to do, or would you shift because you would have to provide, right?
It's hard to say because I was one of those crazies with no plan B. So I was like, I'm either gonna make it or die.
I'm gonna go home.
Like literally, no,
Choices.
like literally, it was like not an option to fail for me.
Yeah.
Like I just was
I
like,
think that's why people succeed.
Yeah.
no, exactly. So I was like that, and all my friends or people I knew with a plan B always did the plan B. You know, and like I didn't have one, so I was gonna make it in comedy some way somehow.
But then don't you think that I also think that people succeed when they have a very clear vision of
Yes.
what it is.
Yes.
I think sometimes when my stuff goes a little sideways,
Yeah.
it's because I'm not speaking into I'm not speaking into the universe about what I actually want.
Yeah,
Because
what's
sometimes
your
it gets messy,
intention?
right? I'm like,
Yeah.
you know, it's content creation, but
Yeah.
I don't know really if it is. For me, it's always been acting or writing or directing or whatever it is create. But I don't know if it's necessarily for the YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok space.
Sure.
That's great. It's a great like little side thing. But for me, it's always been to be on a TV show or to
But
be
why
in a
TV?
film.
What's the difference? Like at the end
I
of
know,
the
and I had
day,
therapists say that, like, what's the
right?
difference? And for me, even though I show so much of myself, there's a part of me that really doesn't want to.
Yeah,
I've
I
always
feel that.
been able to hide behind characters, and my new thing has been like, well, Tammin talks about everything, and we've got a podcast that does well, and you know, my social media, we talk about it
Yeah.
all. Like sometimes I don't want to talk about
yeah,
any of
at
it.
all.
I just want
identify.
to act. I want to entertain people,
Yeah.
and that's it. And I don't know if I even I know the press stuff. I don't even want to do press. Like I just want to do the movie and walk away.
Yeah.
And
Totally.
that's just always been it for me, is just to be in these different characters and
Yeah.
film more than TV. TV's different because there's so many
Yeah.
great TV shows on, but
And it's more collaborative, I guess.
Yeah.
TV.
But my husband is really getting there, and it's taken a long time. But
Yeah.
I think because he always knew he's North Star. He's a filmmaker.
Yeah.
He writes, directs. He produces because he has to. But he's a writer and director.
Yeah.
And he's always been that.
Yeah.
He's always said he's that. And he's
Yeah.
never had another plan. And it's taken a long time. But now he's on set doing the biggest movies he's ever done with like A-list actors. And it's
Yeah.
taken 20 years to do so. But it's because he's always had that goal.
Totally.
And I think when that goal wavers, which it does for me sometimes,
Yes.
I'm like, oh, I'll do this and maybe I'll start this and I'll have a clothing line and I'll
Oh my
whatever.
gosh,
And
yeah.
then you think, well, that's why you're not getting exactly to the goal of where you want to go. Like maybe for you,
So
it was to
true.
create characters, but maybe that is to create characters that will be as a TV show on Netflix. I don't know. I don't know what that goal is.
Yeah, like I always kept my intention pretty clear. It was like, I want to make people laugh and make a living doing that.
Yeah.
Like that was it. Just very simple. Like, how can I do that? And like, social media gave me that. And so did like the sitcoms. But again, like I didn't have a lot of control over that. Whereas like I could be expressing myself creatively and sharing that with the world. So I think, but like having that clear intention is so important. But it's interesting you say that because it's like I started out doing comedy and it felt so focused and I was like,
Right.
cool, I'm doing what I'm good at and I'm making a living doing it. This is amazing. Like truly fulfilled. Then I started getting more like, ooh, I should try vlogging and
Right.
like show
Buy the new
me.
camera.
Yeah, and, like
Yeah.
film my birth. Like here's
Yeah.
my baby coming out.
Yeah.
Like I went hard. It just like I found it interesting to like document.
But maybe it wasn't your...
Well, I identify with like not always wanting to reveal so much. I think this past year has been like so intense for me, and I have not wanted to post as much, and I've certainly not personal things. You know, it's just been like I want to get back to like my roots
Yeah.
of just like
And not everyone,
You know?
it's hard to say this, but like not everyone deserves to see
totally my pussy.
all your stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Only the chosen
Except
few.
us. I
what
saw
I'm
it. I
saying.
saw a close up right then, and I was like, nah,
You know,
not bad.
thank you. Thanks.
He's coming on today. Sorry. Is this happening right now? Like in front of everyone. But yeah, no, I know. I'm saying, yeah, I just think sometimes you like not everyone deserves. And there's a lot of hate out there too. And
Yes.
by like throwing yourself in the deep end, you're just like, okay, what is the reaction I'm gonna get back from that? But the older I get, the more I want to hide in such a good way.
Agreed. Agreed.
not in a
I
negative
feel
way.
Important to be
that.
I
out
just
there
don't
as
want everyone
much.
to know
Yeah.
everything that I'm doing or what I'm
Right.
wearing or what I'm eating or my
Right.
kids are doing. And my eldest is 10 and we've really tried to sort of move away from that for her because like she doesn't want everyone to see her birthday party.
Oh no, 100%.
You know?
I was gonna ask you about that because
Yeah.
like I used to when my kids were babies, like
We
they
did
would
that
just.
too.
I wasn't a family vlogger, but like they would be incorporated because like I was making content about my life and they were part of it. But then I was like, wait a minute, they didn't consent to this. Like it's kind of exploitative. They may be angry when they're older. Like
Right.
it's kind of good to
Yeah. So the only time my kids are ever in something is if they're in it, and I also talk to the brands, like they have to be in it for a very small amount of time, and we
Yeah.
actually pay them.
love that.
So
yeah.
they have bank accounts,
Yeah.
and they have money that is now growing in the bank. And literally, one of the things we had to do is they had to hold this sustainable water bottle and run across the screen once. And I was like, you know what? To set them up for their future, like it's a case by case basis. But never am I going to now take a picture of my kid's face going to school,
Yeah.
and put that as a post.
yeah.
That's never going to happen again.
Yeah. Totally.
If I was going to do something funny with my 10-year-old, I'd ask her and it would be like really quite from the side of her face where you see like the side of her hair.
yeah.
If she would like to be involved. But
yeah.
that's really it at this point. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
That's how we
peace in
navigated
that
it.
though too. Like when
Definitely.
you make that decision, it's
Yeah.
like you feel good
Yeah.
about that. You know, before I think there was some like insecurity. I know for me because you're like they're part of the of our lives. You
Yeah,
know, like
right.
they should be in these things, but there is peace like stepping away from that too. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah, it's just safe.
good.
Less therapy
safer.
bills.
yeah. It's like a lot less therapy
No,
bills.
seriously.
You're like, last chance for them to be fucked up.
what about you guys? Like, what's your intention or what you feel your purpose is? Like, well,
In life.
yeah.
Roxy's like, well,
Make it through the week.
thinks,
Well, not your kids though. I don't want to hear about your kids.
I'm
just kidding.
always,
You're like, no more kid talk.
I want to be. I did a film recently, and I got these comments of like, "Oh my goodness, I didn't know you could do that." And I said to someone recently, I was like, "I haven't even started. Like, I've been lucky enough to do like 800 episodes of television and like 20 films, and I feel like I haven't even started. I feel like I haven't even scratched the surface because I haven't even been given the space or opportunity. Obviously, I've been given so much opportunity, but the opportunity to do the things that I know that I'm capable of that took a long time to actually say out loud, right? Because like as women, you're like, oh, don't have an ego. Don't say anything that you think that you might be good at. So for me, it's being respected as an actor. I just want people to go, oh, I loved her in that. Like, not, my purpose isn't for people to like me, because that really sound like it, but to do the things I love and for people to enjoy it.
Yeah.
And comedy is half of what I do, and drama is the other half. So I actually have a foot in both sides.
Yeah.
But I really want to get into, I directed something recently, and I really like to get more into directing,
Yeah.
writing, and just keep creating. And all the things, I sometimes think I'm being pulled in different directions. Like I'll get an opportunity that's not aligned with my purpose, and I'll want to do it because it looks shiny.
Sure.
And I'll be like, oh, that would be good financially. But I know it's going to take most of the time away from actually putting effort into doing something that I love to do. That's
Totally.
purposeful.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it's that. And my North Star with my therapist is just to like really like, it's so easy to say to love yourself, but just to like myself.
I know.
And I'm not fully there,
Yeah.
but I'm so much better.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
I don't
progress.
fully like myself, but, and I like better than the word love, because I think you always innately love yourself because you kind of have to survive. But I really want to like myself, and I'm almost there.
It's funny how difficult it can be to just like yourself.
Yeah, it's so hard, right?
Some days it's easy.
Right,
It's
right.
like, you're fucking awesome, Laura. And then other days I'm like, piece of shit. You know, it's like we just
Asshole.
want. Yeah.
Somewhere in the
Just somewhere in the middle.
Easy,
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah.
I think
It's a
for-
practice.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
for me, I just want to live like definitely more in the present, like you were saying before. I think that's so important.
Yeah.
Because oftentimes I find myself living in the future and worrying about things that haven't happened, and trying to figure things out before instead of enjoying the moment.
Yeah.
So I think that that's a really big one for me. And I think, you know what? I think I'm still kind of finding my purpose. I don't
Yeah.
know. I mean, I think I have a lot of directions that I love.
Yeah.
That I want to keep exploring, but I don't know if I have my solid like one purpose yet. I don't know. I guess
Yeah.
I'm kind of leaving myself open to it a bit, but I don't know. But that's also, I'm indecisive too. So it's very hard for me to nail down
is.
one thing, It's like,
Yeah.
I want to do this, but then I want to do this. Oh, I want to do that. Oh, definitely going to do that.
But like,
Right.
Fuck,
but also like, why do we want to do all of these things? Like
know.
all we are doing as humans is like seeking pleasure and avoiding pain. And like, you want to do that thing most of the time because you think it's going to make you happy.
Right.
But when we realize that happiness is an inside job, truly, then like that stuff, like, yeah, it's cool and it's good to have a purpose, obviously, but I don't know, like at the end of the day, like the goal is just like inner peace and
Yes.
just being content. And I think like for me, when I reached like 25 million plus followers and like was making the world laugh and making a lot of money doing it, and it was like, okay, this is cool, but like it's not actually making me happier. It's actually not. And is it
You get
ever
the viral
enough?
video. You're like,
No.
a viral video will make you happy. And then every time I get a viral video, it's like, thought I was going to feel better than this.
Or like you get a hit and it goes away and you're like, let me get my next hit. Like it becomes
Addictive almost, right? It's a cycle.
definitely.
Yeah.
It's a cycle.
Do you worry about the numbers? Do you ever
not
think
anymore.
about it?
Not anymore. Like I
Not anymore.
probably should worry more. Like I probably should.
But your numbers are so...
I've just calmed down so much over the years. Like my priorities have shifted. Like I just want peace in my life. I want to be a good mom and like I don't know, just find joy in like simplicity, like fucking power walks. Like I now like I want to, obviously financial stability is good. I need to pay my bills, but like I'm no longer like I gotta make this much and get this, you know, like that is not.
And have you found yourself making the same amount when you've calmed down?
No.
It's less.
I make less, but I work less because now I'm with my kids more and I'm not. I was so burnt out, girl. Like I was addicted.
And that's what I was
know?
saying back before when I'm saying social media is a lot and it's like boo-hoo, but it is when you say burnout because it's literally what you think about, it's what you do, it's what you, and people don't realize you're also writing and editing
Everything.
and it's everything.
Production,
And like
I mean, it's
editing
all that,
takes hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. And a lot of that time you're not seeing money from it because you can't do a brand deal and then have 10 brand deals, right? So you gotta have a brand deal in like 10 videos and then a brand deal in 10 videos.
And then you're subjecting yourself to the criticism of millions of strangers, which like on TV, not necessarily. Like sure, there's reviews, but like not right on your page.
Oh no. I don't even read. Do you read it?
Try not to. Sometimes I do. Like I
Sometimes
said, like you've got to
accidentally.
like gauge, is it working, is it not? And like, but I don't obsessively read them anymore.
I don't
you
either.
know?
And I also, when I read it and it's hateful, the first thing I think of is like, ooh, that person's struggling. Because who has the time to sit and put someone else down?
Never have I once.
I've
been
never
like,
once been like,
you're
you
ugly.
you look like you. And I'm like, what? I've never even
Right, like
thought-
why take the time?
This video sucked. You're not funny, huh? Never once.
Never
have I
once.
seen a video I
You're
didn't
like,
like
I've
and gone,
thought
I'm
it.
gonna tell it. Of course.
It's
Of course
just
we thought it.
so much easier to go like that.
Yeah.
But it's
if you
not
don't
even
like
that, but it's like
something.
no one ever says anything. Like sane people or happy people don't respond.
No.
Totally.
They've
And
got
if they
other
don't
things.
like something, they go, ooh, that sucked. And move
Hurt
on.
people hurt people.
Right.
They're literally just hurt. They just need love. When I'm feeling like the bigger person, I'll comment back like sending so much love
Yes,
to you,
that-
which is kind of passive aggressive to be honest.
know,
Like
I
sending
know.
love and healing
Sorry
to
you
you.
feel that
Yes.
way. Heart. Hope you find the peace you need today. Obviously, you're struggling. I love it. I'm
pray for you.
Yeah, pray for you. Pray for you.
Yeah.
One, two,
Sending
three,
love and
four.
light.
Thank you for your opinion.
And then like when I'm not feeling like the bigger person, it's like a suck a dick. I'll give them
Yeah.
just like
Suck a bag of dicks.
dick.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
just
Yeah.
a big eggplant emoji.
Because
Just
that's
like,
fun too.
Yeah.
Or you can respond to the hate and just honestly monetize the haters.
Yeah.
Like I built a whole clothing brand out of a hater. You know, I was breastfeeding my son when he was 4 months at a restaurant. And Steven had storied being like, oh, they're both eating lunch. And it was just like a little story of the two of us. Like I was eating my salad, Alfie was eating my tit. And like we were just at the restaurant. And then this woman DM'd and was like, how dare you breastfeed your son? Like he's too big for your boibs. You have no self-respect. Like your boibs are for your husband. Like she just kept spelling boobs, B-O-I-B-S, like 6 times. She's like, your boibs are for your husband. They're not for your son. Like you're disgusting. You have no self-respect, no dignity. And maybe he was 6 months at the time, but like,
I mean, kids
regardless,
breastfeed till sometimes.
no, like he 4. I know. He was 2 and a
It's like
half.
grown
And I was
ass
like, you
man.
gotta stop.
Yeah.
But like she kept spelling boobs, boibs, and I was like, that's so funny. And so like I like posted the DM, and then I got like all these women who have been publicly shamed for breastfeeding, and it was like just like thousands of posts about like stories of how they were shamed for it. And I was like, okay, like I was developing a clothing brand and they were like, what do you want to call it? And Steven's like, boibs. Call it
Genius.
boibs. I'm like,
Exactly.
it's kinda
Turn pain
funny.
into
Yeah.
what is it?
Monetize the
Yeah.
haters. So sometimes that's one approach.
Yeah. That's a good approach,
Yeah.
actually. You made some
You just
something
sent her a
off
few
that.
grand.
You know
and
what
just
I
been
mean?
like, thank you for
Right?
the
Done.
thank you for licensing.
Exactly.
Thanks for the free branding.
Yep.
You know.
Boibs.
Thank you guys so much for coming.
you.
This was fun.
Yes.
Can I
Come
come
on our
on yours
show.
now?
Yes.
Yeah, yes, I totally will.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Is
It's
it not bad?
It's not bad. Bags not.
Bags not.
Really?
Bags
Bags
not.
not.
I've got a friend who speaks like this. Oh, 2 minutes left. She's like, hey, Laura, how you going? Is that good?
Kinda. But like, sounds like you're just taking a Xanax.
Sounds like I'm gonna murder you.
Sounds like
Boy.
the
Like
airplane
this
lady gave you
really
the Xanax.
low.
Hi, Laura.
Do you guys all talk
Do you
like
want to
this?
go like over to the
Talk
neighbor's
like that.
house?
Hello.
I need to learn
videos
it.
of your son crawling the gate over there.
Well, I'm gonna come on yours,
Yes.
and I'm gonna. That sounded really dirty. I'm gonna come on you.
You're gonna come-
both.
At least someone's giving us
Coming on
action.
it. It's more action than we
You know,
had today.
It's been a minute.
Okay. Anything? And, where can they find you?
Women on Top.
Women on Top
This is
is
our
our
podcast. I'm Tammin Sursok on Instagram, TikTok, and all the things. And
What are we on Instagram?
Women on Top official on Instagram.
That's right.
What
Women-
are you?
So I'm Women on. Okay, we're Women on Top podcast on Facebook. Women on
no one's
Top
writing this down.
official on
Write it
TikTok.
down. Get
Write
your
it
pen
down.
out.
Just go to Women on Top podcast.
Yeah.
Get your notes. Women on Top official on YouTube and Red Carpet Roxy with a Y
Yes,
on
she does all
Instagram
these great
and
red
all.
carpet
Yes, red
interviews.
carpet. It's fun.
Incredible.
Good stuff.
Thank you. You guys are
Yes.
awesome.
We love it.
Thank you.
And we got to see your vagina. For like a split second. We saw your vagina for a split second.
And you saw my vagina.
It's a
It's
good
worth
day.
it.
It's a good day.
It's a
for
good
you guys.
day.